Miss Johnston wants us to map out what we did as backpack leaders from step to step and how we got all of our students at Camer to pass their backpack at a distinguished level.
So one of the first things we really did was take a look at what the district sent us and see what we could do if we were students that were presenting, which we were, to help it make it more comfortable for us.
So we started out with the JCPS guideline that they gave us, and then we went into it and made up more notes that we thought would help fit Camer students the best so we could have the best presentation possible. And we came out with just a guided one for Camer students with all of our evidences that would be in it, our closing statement, and any other additional notes that we had. And as it went on, we had these meetings that we had to work with and to design all this. So
we would have these meetings, and each time we would talk about how we could make the situation better for the students and how we could make it easier for the students to understand what we were doing. So we would meet probably twice or 3 times a week, and we would miss a good hour and a half of our class periods, which was a struggle for a lot of us, because one of the main things that was about this is we had to make up all of our missing work. It was not like we got exempted from the work. We had to make it up, and we had to ask our teachers if we could come. So it was a lot of struggle to have to balance, this and the schoolwork, but it really paid off in the end. Which is where this came in, which is the Camer Middle School Backpack Defense Planning Guide. So we looked at the rubric, which Miss Johnson had given us, and we really went over how we could turn this rubric into a way that kids could just simply write down what they needed to have done and know what they should have when they're presenting. So we took things like the specific artifacts they need to have, and the backpack skills they need to cover, and their opening statement and their closing statement. We put it all on this easy planning sheet so they would know what exactly they needed to do, which I think that really helped a lot when it came to when we were showing the classes and the individual people what they needed to do, because it was definitely a struggle for the backpack team to really understand what we were doing in such a short amount of time. So I think that it really helped when all of us were out there showing the kids what they needed to do.
And it's like so much harder than people think it is, and for us to, because this is just what JCPS gave us, and every student is going to be learn a different way, is going to organize a different way, and so they needed to take on the backpack defense in different ways. So we had them start with the planning guide, and they would write down all 3 of their artifacts, their backpack skill, opening statement, and closing statement, which really, when they would have to go into an actual computer and type it all in and detail it a lot more, it became much more easier. Or kids who thought that they could just go off JCPS, the JCPS rubric, they could too. So it was just all about making it easier for our Camer students, and for us really too, because going into a computer, and we're not those students, we have no clue what they've done previously in the year and what they can use as artifacts. So having them write it down and make sure that they actually have it located in their backpack was much easier for us. Yeah, and getting to that point, like going to, because we started first on one of our 8th grade teams, and it was our first time ever teaching any student to do that. So we went in not really that prepared, and we had kids who didn't care about it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't think it was important. So it really started out rough, and as we ended with our other 8th grade team, our Honey team, we had it much more organized. We had a paper for scheduling, which made it much easier. We had enough people at that point where every student had a backpack team leader, and so it just made it much easier for all of us. So.
And as one of the facilitators for the room, it was really disappointing when you would be sitting there and you'd be waiting for the kids to come out and be like, "Oh, what'd you get?" And they, reply all said, "Oh, I didn't pass." And so I think that was like what really motivated me and the other backpack leaders to make sure these kids passed, because it was so disappointing picturing yourself in that situation and seeing yourself not pass. So when a kid did not pass, we sat down with them and we made sure they understood, and we made sure their presentation was for them and not the way we would want it, because we know a lot of kids just can't function the same ways and they can't present the same way. So we made sure that they had the most comfortable presentation they could have. And I really think that was one of the most inspiring parts about this whole team, is we really didn't do it for ourselves or for Miss Johnstone or for the backpack in general. We did it because we wanted the kids to understand that this isn't something that's going against them. It's something that's just there to help them, because once we get to high school, it's going to be a lot more of presentations and presenting in front of large crowds. So I really think that the backpack was more of a way of showing the students how they need to get used to speaking in front of a lot of people in their own comfortable way, and I think it did that.
We've heard a lot of parents, when I was interviewed by the news one time, there was a parent and they're talking about these kids, when they get to high school and their senior year have to present again, there may be a small team of 5 or so people, but there's not going to be a 25 person team to sit down with each individual kid. And that's the really important part of it. It's not you either move on or you don't. You're dumb or you're smart. So
yeah, and I think something that really helped with the kids understanding was we did a gallery walk, and basically we put each of the backpack skills, and we put artifacts, things that we've done, things that kids around the school have done, under those things to kind of show them like what they could put there to show that they are an emerging innovator or a globally and culturally competent citizen, whatever it was. Because I feel like a lot of students thought, I'm not going to pass if I don't have these grades, I'm not going to pass if I don't have these math scores. But that wasn't the point. The point was to help you grow as a student, as a learner, as a leader, to show you that this is only going to get more and more advanced, and you're only going to have to speak in front of more people. So I think with this gallery walk, it really showed the kids like, okay, I can be an emerging innovator with something that doesn't involve getting an 100 on a math project. I can be an emerging innovator because I got a 60, but I redid it so I could get extra points, and then I got an 85 the second time. Passing your backpack does not mean you have good grades. It does not mean that you are on honor roll or anything like that. It just means that you can accept your mistakes and help grow from them, because that's the most important part about being just a student in JCPS.
And I think when we were doing the gallery walk, we were in the middle of building our presentations ourselves. So we hadn't even gone to any classrooms, any teams. No one else had presented. No one had presented in the school yet. We were working on our presentations. So we all had similar projects. And we all had, like, I know at Camera we all had the water park project, the World Fest project, the tessellation. All 8th grade classes did those. But these panelists who are sitting in here don't want to see that over and over and over. So we really wanted to break down what an emerging innovator was, what a productive collaborator was, so that everyone knew that it doesn't have to be that. And when we went into all these classrooms, some kids wouldn't have a single thing in their backpack, or even a single thing in their drive. So they had nothing. And so we had to start from scratch with them. What did you do that would make you a prepared and resilient learner? And some of these kids even had to go back to their teachers and get those projects to take pictures of it. So it was, the gallery walk, I think, was one of our most productive things that we did that helped push forward the process of everyone passing and everyone doing good on their presentation with it organized and well thought out.
And so honestly, personally, I think the backpack team, backpack leadership team was a very beneficial thing for all of our students at Camera, because, I mean, we're not going to have this in high school, and I think that it really helped a lot of the kids who were not prepared to understand, like, it's only going to get more complicated from here. I think that the backpack team it inspired kids to do better, and it helped kids do better, and it really showed kids, like, the responsibility that comes with high school. And I think overall the backpack showed us who was ready and who wasn't, and I think now, after everyone's presented and passed, most people are more than ready for high school, and they're ready to take on all of these challenges, because it was a long and difficult process, but in the end it paid off for all of us.
So it shows that we didn't start out together as a team. She didn't pick these students just randomly and say, you're going to be the backpack team. It just first started out as a little group learning what the backpack was until she realized we can do something really, really great with this. So that's where that come into play. And then I just think that this was I recommend it for every other school, that having a backpack team that knows more than regular students would, it's so much more important and it's so much more effective than just having your teacher teach it like a normal class.